Hi guys, we thought we'd give you August's newsletter in a digital format of video so you can see our smiling faces, which is a real treat for you guys. We just wanted to give you an update on what is happening with Feeding Faith missions here in Guatemala and give you some updates on what's happening with Kristen and I.
We will start off with the White Flag campaign, just to give you some updates. So a small brief synopsis of what White Flag is. When the pandemic hit Guatemala, it kind of took a situation where there's a lot of poor people and really just took it down a notch to be in a level of desperation beyond what's already in existence. And what happened is people started literally getting to where they had zero, and they started putting white flags outside their houses as a sign of surrender. So we kind of jumped into action with that, and in a nutshell, we started putting together bags of food so we could go out and help feed the people. With that, what that's done for us is it's given us an opportunity to evangelize to people, which is what our mission here is to bring more people to Jesus Christ. So we, to date, have fed over 2,500 families, and we, while we're there, we also do evangelism. And for people who don't go to church, don't know Christ, we speak to them one-on-one, and we've been able to bring 250 people to salvation. So it's been a really amazing opportunity on both the food and the evangelizing. But what we find for both of us is that one of the things that's really struck us both is how the people are just so not used to somebody really from the outside sitting down with them and just saying, how are you doing? I think right now with the current climate everywhere in the whole cold globe, that's what we all need to be doing. And so that's really been a key part of what we do, is just sitting down with these people saying, yes, here's your bag of food. Obviously that's what leads them to us. And then saying, because a lot of people will want to get up and run off with their bag of food, and we're like, just sit for a second, we're good, and we just want to know, how are you? And usually they're a little taken back. How are you? How's your family? Tell me about your family. How many people are in your house? How is everybody's health? The more you talk to them, the more they'll open up to you. So we're hearing a lot of blessed stories, and we're hearing a lot of people saying, they're having issues and troubles, and we just sit there and take the time to listen to them, and it's really crucial. I think we all do that at this time. One of many testimonies we've had is that somebody came to us who was having some physical and sexual abuse going on with her, and we hooked her up with the local pastor. She hadn't been going to church because she was in fear, and we made that connection with them, which really opened her up to be able to talk more deeply with somebody. And he reported back to us a couple weeks later that she started coming to their small church services. They weren't really a service at that point, but they were doing little tiny meetings, and that she was starting to feel much better, and that she was just getting that release of the anxiety and the stress and the things that were going on in her life. So it's been really, really an amazing opportunity for us. It wasn't really what we visioned our mission looking like. We didn't really know what it was going to look like exactly, but it's been pretty amazing, and we both feel really blessed to be able to be a part of it. And as long as funds keep rolling in for it, we're still going out weekly to feed people and continue the process and continue the mission. So we're going to keep rolling with the white flag as long as we can.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, like Kristen said, it could be a long-term. We want it to be a long-term thing, even after the pandemic is over or whatever that ends. We want to continue feeding as well as the other parts of our mission. Food is part of it, and getting food to people that don't have any. But it's good. And of course, behind the scenes, you've got all the bagging of the rice and beans and corn and all the stuff. Kristen sort of leads that up most of the time, leads the charge in bagging up thousands and thousands of pounds of beans and corn and pasta, the stuff you kind of don't see. That's not the non-glamorous side of being a missionary, because missionaries is quite glamorous. But the unglamorous side, behind the scenes, there's a lot goes on. And the white flag, even with bagging up the food, even the admin, so to speak. So we have to go buy the food and keep the accounting done. So there's quite a lot goes on, but it's a very worthy cause. We thank everyone that helps with that. And we're also doing building for us, as well as building physical buildings, feeding centers and churches. We're building, or we're trying to help where there is even a church that needs to be built. The congregation needs to be built. The community needs to be built around that. One example we have right here in our neighborhood, there was the guy that does all the sort of handiwork around the neighborhood, on a Thursday evening runs a little kind of church up on there's a hill right behind us here. And of course he got kind of shut down with the pandemic, everything got shut down, but we kept chatting with him, kept talking to him, and then on a Thursday evening we'd actually meet at one of the neighbors' houses, because we were allowed to meet with so many limits on the people and sticking to the rules and the law. So we just started working with Isidro and trying to help him out a little bit, keep this thing rolling. Of course, with broken Spanish or no Spanish at all in my part, so added another element. But now the restrictions have been lifted a little bit on church greetings. We're back on the hill Thursday evenings, and just trying to help encourage Isidro and work with him. And the group's got a little bigger. We're up to kind of the capacity of the legal requirements we're allowed to meet with. So that's an interesting one to build. And through that, there's another place called Roblecito. Is it Roblecito? Roblecito
Yep.
in La Lima, not too far from here, 45 minutes. And they were, trying to build a church. Hello, Jake.
That's all right.
They were trying to build a church there. Or they started to build a church, but hadn't really got too far. So we heard about it. We thought, well, can we help out? So with a lot of people locally sort of put into getting some cement and some time, and we got Larry involved and Annabelle and a few other people, and in a few days work up there we've helped construct the pillars, the pillars of this church, to try and build a church to bring people to have a church to worship in. So we're finding that's a big part of what we're doing, as well as feeding there's so many elements to it, but physically building places and then helping to build up the church is huge. And the feeding centers, anyone knows what we're doing down here, knows the work that Larry and Marla do, and with Gainesville Church of God, and the 8 feeding centers that we have down here that feed over 500 children. And they're still being fed, even with the pandemic, those children, through different ways of feeding, more a little different to what we normally do, but the children get fed every week. But there's maintenance needs to be done on those buildings, improvements. So again, working with Larry and Marlo and a few other people that are involved in the feeding centers, we're into a program of improvements and renovations. So it's an interesting part of the work, kind of hands dirty, something I do like, doing a little more swinging the hammers. So
he's quite good at it too.
Yeah, we overcome a few problems and you just get the job done. So again, always needing support on the building programs, and there's plenty of those going around.
Absolutely. So just another little update on Guatemala as a whole with the pandemic is just because we get that a lot, is what's going on, what's the news, can you travel, can you not? So backtracking just a little bit, we arrived here in March, and I want to say we got here on the 10th, and the country pretty much shut down on, I believe, the 13th. So we've pretty much been living in the land of pandemia, so to speak. I don't know if that's the correct word, but
I think it's a real word.
It's a new word. But we've been living in the pandemic state since we got here, so that's pretty much our normal. But right now where we are is we're still mandatory masks. Our curfew has been lifted slightly. It used to be 4 p.m. every day up until probably a month or so, give or take, and it's now 9 p.m. Pardon me. Our borders of the country are still closed and the airport is still closed. However, the internal borders of the departments, most of them are open. There's still a few, I believe, that are closed. Those are similar to states in the United States, probably counties, I guess, in England for our European friends. So the department's borders have been lifted, which has given us quite a bit of freedom to be able to still do what we've been doing. We were very lucky that we were considered humanitarian aid. So we were able to travel through that title to do some of the food deliveries, but we couldn't just hop in the car and take off and go to the next department or the next state, so to speak. So, but right now we're just, things change regularly. They change daily, weekly. They've just recently come out with we'll call it a traffic light system. I think some other places have something similar, so it's, almost like any other level. You've got, green, yellow, orange, and red. And the department we're in now, I believe, is still in red, if I'm not mistaken. So. We're still rojo. So some things have lifted, some of the, like I said, the curfew's lifted a little bit, and churches, let me mention that. So yes, church gatherings can happen, but they're very small and for a very short amount of time. If you're familiar with Latin America, usually church services are very long. So they're making do with what we can do down here. We kind of joke about, I think it's a 30-minute restriction right now, and we're like, well, that's just the first 30 minutes of clapping. So, but we're very excited to be able to start, being more open with some of the church services we're having. So that's, I think, the nuts and bolts of we're waiting to hear about the travel ban. Again, don't know what that's going to look like. We're hoping our president's supposed to speak this evening. We're hoping that's going to be, some new news for us. And, for us, it's not so much about, us being able to travel quickly. But we've got teams that come down here, and we encourage people, if you're interested in doing any kind of mission work, to contact us. We can tell you what that looks like. But we have a lot of teams that are itching to get back down here. So we're itching to have you here. But obviously that's out of our realm of responsibility, that we're not in charge of that. So, but once that's opened up, obviously we're looking forward to having everybody back down here.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, there'll be plenty of opportunity, as you said, once things open up. All that sort of pent up, need to go on a mission trip will be fulfilled. We're more than happy to help anybody that sees this and thinks, I wouldn't mind seeing what a mission trip looks like. Let us know. Contact Kristen and I. We'll get you set up where we've got all the systems are in place, even though they haven't been used. Everything's here.
That's right.
And really, our mission hasn't changed. As Kristen said, we got here 3 days later. There's a global pandemic, and the whole country has been locked down 3 days after we got here. So, but we've just adapted to that. We've not for 1 second, I don't think, thought about like running home or going home, because this is now our home. We made a permanent move here, and this is now our home. Chicken Noodle is where we live. This is our house. We have our cats. We don't really have any other home. This is what we were called here to do this mission, and even through all of the kind of hardships or changes, differences that we've come across, I don't think it's really shaken us at all on what we're here to do. We've just changed it a little bit, where we haven't been able to go to certain places or do certain things. We've done other things. So the mission hasn't changed. Our mission is to help the people of Guatemala. There's so much need in this country. The statistics are still, well, they've got even worse, but we know, if anyone knows Guatemala and Google searches, the malnutrition rate here amongst children, the poverty rate is insane. So that's what our mission is. There's different elements to it, but the basic mission is to help the people of Guatemala and spread the word of the gospel. That's the whole reason we're here, and we really haven't changed. But it is different. But we're excited in some respects to try these different things.
Absolutely.
Every day is a little different. One thing we learned, I think, first thing I certainly learned, and Kristen probably agree with me, as a missionary, the number one thing is flexibility. You got to be flexible. You get up in the morning thinking, I know exactly what's going to happen today. By about 9 a.m., that's gone right out the window, and it's completely different. So that's something you have to learn real quick. Flexibility. You never know what the day. And just don't be afraid of anything. Just jump in, and don't be afraid to try something new. And that's what we've been doing. So we're going to continue. This is our mission, Guatemala, feeding faith. We want to thank, as always, from the bottom of our hearts, our spiritual leader, Pastor Chris Christophilus from Gainesville Church of God, who has just been, just phenomenal in supporting and keeping us, spiritually fed very well, and our church. We call it our home church because it is our home church, even though this Chicken Noodle is our home. Our church is Gainesville Church of God. That's where we have all of our church friends are there. We love them all. There's so much support that we get, not just financially, but spiritually. We know they all pray for us, so we just want to give a big shout out to Gainesville Church of God and all of our sponsors and supporters. They're around the world, from Europe and America. We couldn't do this without you guys. It's just phenomenally good. And as Kristen said, if anybody's interested in learning more about our mission work, want to come and sample it, get your feet wet, quite wet in some cases, and muddy, let us know. We're happy to host people down here for mission trips, give you guys more information. If someone says, hey, I just want to know something, just send us a message. We'll send you a message back on what things are like. We've got plenty of info. So that's about it for the newsletter. What exciting things are coming up, Kristen?
We're going to be doing a live Facebook event soon. We will give you a date as soon as we announce it. If you want to contact us for anything, our website's feedingfaith.org. If we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, pretty much all the social media.
Facts.
We both have all the pages personally. We've got LinkedIn. We're on all the kind of all the things. So, but we're very excited about the future. We're excited about where we've been in the past, and we're just kind of taking things a day at a time, as you should. But we thank you guys for everything, and we just want to send out, peace, blessings, love, all the good stuff, and look forward to seeing everybody when we're able to travel. And feel free to again reach out to us. We love hearing from everybody. So
all right, guys.
That's it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.